Good afternoon and welcome to each one of you to this special lecture by Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche. Welcome to the students and staff of the university, welcome to members of the Buddhist community, and welcome to all of you from the general public. My name is Professor Elaine Wainwright, and I'm head of the Theology Discipline area in the Faculty of Arts here at the university. Today I have the great pleasure and the honour of introducing and welcoming Rinpoche. Rinpoche is now about to make his entrance, and I would invite you all to respectfully stand as he enters and takes his position in the room. Thank you. I would like to extend a warm welcome to you, Khenpo. Thank you for visiting us here in Aotearoa, New Zealand at this time, and for offering your time to speak with us today. And today, Rinpoche is here with us and is going to speak to us on the topic, When God Meets Buddha. This is a topic that we hope will be of interest to each of you in our audience, and one which I'm sure will function to stretch our categories. Many of us will have learnt to think of Buddhism as non-theistic, and many other world religions as theistic. We look forward, therefore, to hearing Rinpoche lead us into a new space, a new time, when God meets Buddha. I now invite you to the podium, Rinpoche, and to address us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
First of all, I am really very grateful that the University of Auckland recently invited me to give a lecture here. It is indeed because of your kind invitation and continuous support that I have the opportunity to visit New Zealand for the first time. This country is as beautiful as a fairy tale, with landscapes that seem to belong to a world of dreams. This is my first time coming here. Present here today are the distinguished professors, dedicated teachers and students of the University of Auckland, as well as brothers and sisters from various religions, and also friends who may not follow any religious tradition. No matter who you are, I am very willing to engage in discussions and exchanges with all of you. I myself, personally speaking, am a Buddhist, but for all people in the world, regardless of whether they are religious believers or other people without any particular faith, I have a great deal of respect and truly admire. Moreover, I often find that we share much common ground in our conversations as well as in our daily lives. Why am I interested in religions and various other cultures from all over the world? Because on this earth where we live, in fact, every species and every single human being living on this planet all need to have a shared, genuine pursuit and common ideals. Especially now, in particular, every religion in the world, compared with other cultures or thoughts and doctrines, is entirely distinct. Some other schools of thought, after they had developed for no more than a few centuries or decades, they have already disappeared. But the origins and histories of the religions that still exist in the world today clearly show that they possess an incredibly, truly tenacious and remarkable vitality. All these religions, although their doctrines and theories differ, are aimed at guiding all of humanity toward goodness and at leading entire cultures toward the highly advanced civilized state through education. If these religions did not possess an extremely tenacious vitality and willpower, it is impossible that they are still alive in the history spanning thousands of years. We find that in the 5,000-year-long river of human civilization, some religions have really existed for a long time, such as Hinduism. Hinduism in its earliest form was Brahmanism, and before that it was the Vedic religion. This ancient tradition dates back to around 2000 BCE. It has a history of 4,000 years. Similarly, Judaism as well as the ancient Roman religion also originated around 2000 BCE, the 20th century BCE. So they too have a history of 4,000 years. Then there is Buddhism, which has also existed for a long time. In fact, Buddhism also dates back to around 500 BCE. Similarly, Taoism, Confucianism, Jainism from India also date back to around 500 BCE. They have a history of about 2,500 years. Western philosophy, such as ancient Greek philosophy, which is also considered to be a form of religious philosophy, emerged around approximately 400 BCE. Plato's profound philosophical thought is about 2,400 years old from now. After that came Christianity, which you are familiar with. It actually begins with our common era. So it too has a history of over 2,000 years. Then there is Islam. Islam mainly originated on the Arabian Peninsula, dates back around the 7th century CE, approximately 500 years of history. In fact, it also has such a long history. Actually, all these religions with histories ranging from about 1,000 to 4,000 years, the path they've traveled has not been smooth. It's been full of ups and downs, storms and obstacles, but none of them have collapsed. They've endured all the way to the present. In the hearts of so many people, they are still very vividly alive. So I often think that these religions are like wise elders who have lived for thousands of years, constantly and carefully watching over our lives in this world that we live in. In this context, we all know that, in fact, when it comes to the fundamental values of every country in the world, whether it's Buddhism, Christianity, or any other religion, they all play a very significant role. If in this world of ours, there were no constraints from religion at all, or no social bottom line in the course of human civilization, if everyone's behavior in every possible situation truly had no limits at all, we really wouldn't know what direction we were heading in at all. Although various scholars and experts have different views on the periods of these religions, overall, these religions in the world have indeed truly existed and endured for an extraordinarily long time. This is something that none of us can really deny, since they haven't disappeared from people's hearts and have existed for so many years. It shows that they have their own social and practical value. As for me personally, over these recent years, I have sincerely wanted, wholeheartedly, to use my modest efforts to help promote harmony and understanding among different religions in a harmonious and stable way, so that they can truly fulfill their role of truth, goodness, and beauty. In recent years, over the past few years, together with some others, including a few university professors, we established a World Youth Buddhist Society, and I am one of the main persons responsible. Over the past few years, we have been promoting harmony among different religions, organizing some inter-religious activities. These are held in Hong Kong annually with participants from over 200 universities internationally, from more than 20 different countries, including relevant religious figures and other intellectuals. We invited many religious people from the United States, Canada, India, Germany, including people from Hinduism, Christianity, as well as Islam, Buddhism, and Taoism, Confucianism, and so on. People from various religions engage in mutual dialogue and conversation, approaching these conversations with a very relaxed and highly inclusive attitude, and frequently holding such dialogues. The main content of the topics include social responsibility, spiritual education, environmental issues, and so on. Each religion uses its own doctrines and wisdom to explore and express opinions regarding problems that need to be solved together. Everyone contributes within their own capacity, taking action and implementing solutions. Personally, I feel that approaching these discussions with such an open mindset to explore universal issues that require our attention should be the proper responsibility for a religious person. So I personally feel that such actions are very effective. If you are interested, you can also check out the website of the World Youth Buddhist Society. Previously, teachers from schools here in New Zealand participated relatively little. In the future, I also hope that if we continue to hold these events, your professors and university students will also take part as well. This is not advertising because every year there are a great many applicants. This year there were over 2,000 people, but we only accepted 600. So there is really no need for us to advertise here. Hope you don't misunderstand. But whether we can hold in Hong Kong or not is uncertain. Recently, there have been quite a few issues in Hong Kong. Today, what we are mainly going to discuss is when God meets Buddha. Perhaps many of you find this topic rather novel or even slightly intriguing. You may wonder, what exactly should a monk talk about? I feel exactly the same way about this. But regardless, I will present my views as impartially as possible. So next, I will take some Christian viewpoints and compare them with various different Buddhist viewpoints and perspectives. There are several important similarities that I am able to elaborate a bit more in detail. Other differences between Christianity and Buddhism, yes, there are differences, but these differences don't necessarily lead to contradictions or mutual exclusion, because differences are not unique to Christianity and Buddhism. Within Christianity itself, Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and Christianity itself, speaking of their various doctrines and precepts and certain rituals, I have seen that there are many differences, but it is not because of their differences that ultimately led to what is known as mutual exclusion. Similarly, within Buddhism itself, Theravada Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, and Han Buddhism also have many different aspects. When we visit a Theravada Buddhist temple, the temple enshrines only one Buddha. But in Han Buddhist temples, there are more Buddhas and Bodhisattvas than that. And in Tibetan Buddhist temple, there are even more. However, while some places have many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and others fewer, though these differences exist, they do not pose any threat to one another, nor do they claim others are not true Buddhism or cannot coexist. It doesn't become like that. So, since we all need to coexist on this planet, as religious practitioners, we should really try our best to maximize our common ground, and there's no need to nitpick our differences. We should try to minimize them as much as possible. In this way, we will bring benefits to the surrounding world and society in a positive way. Next, I will talk about several similarities between Christianity and Buddhism. First of all, Christianity often involves, in particular, regular prayer and humble supplication. Through heartfelt and sincere prayer, with genuine intention and focus, one can accomplish what she or he needs and have wishes fulfilled. Similarly, Buddhism also has prayers to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas so that one's wishes and heartfelt desires can be absolutely and completely fulfilled. Also in Christianity, one's past sins often are confessed before pastors or in other churches. It is the same in Buddhism. One must confess before gurus or the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas so that past negative karma can be purified. So I think in this regard, there are notable similarities present in both prayer and confession in various ways. The second point is that patience and forgiveness are similar in many important and meaningful ways. There is a very famous saying in Christianity, when someone strikes on your right cheek, you can offer your left cheek to strike. Do not seek revenge with an eye for an eye, and don't give rise to hatred. Buddhism also teaches what is called 4 precepts of forbearance for sramanas. When someone hits me, I do not hit back. When someone insults me, I do not insult back. When others harm me, I do not harm back. When others insult me, I do not insult back. So actually, there are similarities in the practice of patience as well. The third point is regarding the equality of all beings. For example, Christianity often says, God makes the bright sun rise every morning to shine on both evil and good people. He makes the rain fall to wash away the sins of both the bad and the good. God always truly cares for all living beings indeed. And in Buddhism, there is also actually a saying, the Buddha constantly blesses and cares for every sentient being, day and night. Even if the ocean were to part from its waves, the Buddha's blessings and attention would never leave. He would never truly abandon any sentient being at all. So whether in the eyes of God or the Buddha, all people, whether evil or good, are treated equally. The fourth aspect is Christianity also opposes extravagance and waste and consistently advocates frugality. In other words, it encourages living a very simple and modest life. Buddhism also often teaches contentment and reducing desire. We all know that in the 21st century, people's greed and desires have become extremely inflated. Many people have one car and still want a second one. If they have 2 cars, they want 3. If they have a 70 square meter apartment, they want 1 over 100. If they have 100 plus 1, want 200 plus 1. So our desires keep expanding endlessly. At times like this, the religious values of diligence, frugality, and simplicity are extremely important. If each of us every day keeps constantly pursuing the resources we need and want, then all the available resources on earth would never be enough to satisfy us. Yesterday, I asked someone from here, I asked, why are there so many cars? This person told me, in New Zealand, there are more cars than people. At that moment, I thought to myself, how many cars does one person drive? What are they used for? Essentially, in reality, we can say that to a large extent, this is now a materialistic world. People are constantly pursuing, using external things to enrich their hearts and find happiness. But this is extremely difficult. Everyone should, through religion and through a way of adjusting one's mindset, have basically average standard of living and resources, and should feel a sense of contentment. As everyone knows, many people around the world really like to use various Apple iPhones. They are currently using the iPhone 4 or iPhone 5. Now, many people, I don't know about New Zealand, but in mainland China, there's a huge craze for the iPhone 6. When I came this time, many friends said, if you go to the United States, be sure to please bring me back some 6th generation iPhones. I said, I'm not going to America for business. But still they said, please, I really need you to help me buy this. They're really cheap there. So every time someone goes, they want to upgrade and upgrade again. This is also closely related to our desire. The founder, Steve Jobs, has already left, but Apple's updates are getting faster and faster. I don't really know exactly how far it will actually go. iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone 8. I have no idea how many generations it will last. I remember that Mahatma Gandhi of India once said, the earth's resources can only satisfy our needs, but they cannot satisfy our desires. In fact, if each person lacks a sense of contentment, the world will become a very frightening place in the future. This is what Christianity teaches, and so does Buddhism. Human beings should not be too poor, nor should they be too wealthy. We should have a moderate standard of living, and with that, we should have a sense of contentment. The 5th point I want to talk about is that Christianity also talks about almsgiving, often building hospitals, schools, and engaging in many charity events. Buddhism also has dharma giving, which means providing others with education and wisdom, and material giving, which is offering material support. There is also the giving of fearlessness, which means rescuing others when their lives are under threat. In this regard, there are similarities as well. The 6th point is even more important. Christianity often speaks of selfless love and devotion, while Buddhism talks about great compassion and loving kindness. I once translated a speech by Mother Teresa when she received the Nobel Prize. Her speech was in English, and I translated it from the Chinese version into Tibetan. There were 2 stories in it that I still remember vividly to this day. I can briefly share them with you. One of the stories she told went like this. She said, I especially love the poor. Once, together with some nuns, she found 4 homeless people who appeared to be in need out on the street. One of them was very seriously ill. She told the nuns, take care of the others. I will take care of this person. She gave all her love to her, truly, and did everything needed. In the end, when this person was on the verge of death, she showed a very beautiful smile, holding Teresa's hand tightly, said, thank you, and passed away. Mother Teresa said, because of this one sentence is, if it were me in that situation, how would I personally feel about it? And what would I say? This sentence of hers touched Mother Teresa deeply. As everyone knows, generally speaking, beggars tend to evoke strong feelings of disgust and repulsive to people. People really dislike them. But in her gentle, compassionate eyes, beggars were just incredibly loved. I think this is hard for most people to imagine. In Buddhism, we talk about Bodhisattvas. Actually, if one can truly offer unconditional help to all sentient beings, that is a Bodhisattva, it's not about their clothes or their outward appearance that matters. It's not like that. Mahayana Buddhism mainly teaches that anyone who can help sentient beings in their time of suffering is a Bodhisattva in Mahayana Buddhism. There's another story. They once rescued a person from a sewer, but half of this person's body had already been horribly eaten away by maggots. They gently brought him to the relief center and carefully took care of him, making sure he was safe and comfortable. While they were caring for him, in the end, this person also passed away. When he was leaving, he said, I lived a life on the streets worse than that of pigs or dogs. That's how I lived. But at the moment of dying, I am like an angel. So he was grateful to her. This sentence, too, I think gives many people something important to deeply reflect on. These beggars at the bottom of society, people generally tend to have a kind of disdainful attitude toward them. In many places I've been to, people are unwilling to give even a small amount of money to beggars. Everyone dislikes them when they see them. But you guys, just now on the road, we talked about someone called Blanket Man, right? You had a very famous beggar who died recently. Unless it's him, maybe a lot of people would visit or simply watch or give donations to him. But generally speaking, that's impossible. So at times like this, we also have room for reflection. What I just mentioned was equality toward people. In Buddhism, there is also equality toward animals. For example, there is a Bodhisattva named Asanga. He practiced for 12 years on Mount Jizu. In the end, he saw a female dog whose body was covered with maggots and completely festering. He generated great compassion and then rescued it. From this particular story, we can see Buddhism is not only directed toward people, but extends love to animals and or protecting them with compassion because they experience the same joys and sufferings. This is the sixth similarity I mentioned. So, what about the seventh one exactly? Many scholars and great masters believe Christianity generally teaches that after death, one goes to heaven. Buddhism teaches that after death, one can be reborn in the Pure Land. These two are basically the same. This viewpoint comes from the Venerable Master Suyon in the past. He was a great modern master in mainland China who lived to be 120 years old. In his conversations with Sun Yat-sen, the interim president of China at the time, as well as in his discussions with Chiang Kai-shek of Taiwan, there are very clear written records of these thoughts. He said that the Pure Land described in Buddhism is actually very similar to the concept of heaven as described and envisioned in Christian teachings. So after people's death, it is believed that they will take rebirth in the Pure Land. This is shared by both traditions. The last similarity is that, in particular, Christianity acknowledges that there will ultimately be a savior to protect humanity. This savior is often referred to as the Messiah. This is also recorded in the Bible as well. This is actually the same person as Maitreya Bodhisattva mentioned in Buddhism. This isn't what I say. This seems to be an abstract concept, but it is based on the research of the former vice president of Peking University in China, a national treasure level master who studied in University of Göttingen, known as the scholar Ji Xianlin, and his student Chang Wenzhong. After many years of research comparing ancient and modern cultures, they believe that the Messiah spoken of in Christianity and the future Buddha Maitreya, who is to appear in Buddhism, are actually one and the same. So this also broadens our thinking and imagination, and we can observe and explore this further in much greater detail and depth. The above analysis is for everyone's reference. I didn't particularly want to establish a specific viewpoint. Generally speaking, whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, or people of other religions, my suggestion is whatever religion you believe in during your lifetime, it's best not to change your faith. Some people are Christians first, then become Buddhists, and then end up believing in nothing at all, having no faith in any religion. They change their beliefs many times throughout their life. I think this approach is not good. On the basis of not changing our own religious beliefs, we can discuss and learn from others. But no need for Christians to convert to Buddhism or for Buddhists to convert to Christianity. It's unnecessary. Each of us has our own way to coexist harmoniously. Yesterday I asked Buddhist friends in New Zealand, how do you get along with the local Christians?
They said very well.
We drink coffee and tea together and travel together. We get along well. I think it should be like this. Actually, in this world, not only do people of various religions coexist, but even one family can have different beliefs. I know someone who is from Gansu in mainland China, whose family is like this. The father is a Christian. The mother believes in Muslim. Their daughter believes in Buddhism, and their son is an atheist communist. So one family has different beliefs, but they say their relationship is very good. Although we don't need to convert each other or try to influence each other's beliefs, each of us should, on the basis of shared interests and common values, work to promote harmony. In other words, in the future, I often think it would be meaningful if people from different religions all pray together as a community. Sometimes we recite Christian scriptures, sometimes Buddhist scriptures, and sometimes other scriptures. We can come together to chant and study. Christians can study Buddhist sutras, and Buddhists can study the Christian Bible. If we learn from each other, we can embrace much knowledge from around the world. Therefore, as religious followers, we must have an open mindset. This is extremely important. I visited the United States in 1993. There was an important and representative promoter of religious harmony. His name was widely known as Thomas Merton. In fact, he was born in France. His father was from New Zealand and his mother was American. He studied at Cambridge University and Columbia University. Later, he became a very famous priest in Christianity. He said that during his lifetime, he hoped to promote harmony, especially between Christianity and Buddhism. He also once said that he believed there was no contradiction at all between Christianity and Buddhism. Not only was he a priest himself, but he also aspired to be a good Buddhist and practitioner. Then, through his efforts, including Daisaku Ikeda from Japan and Thich Hanh from Vietnam, as well as Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche from Tibetan Buddhism and others. They all had very good communication and exchanges, but unfortunately his life was not very long. He is believed to have passed away in 1968. I think everyone here has a responsibility in the future to learn about other religions. At the same time, we should do our best to actively promote the universal ideals of truth, goodness, and beauty found in all religions. Through human history and experience, we can prove that if one tries in any form to belittle or slander others, or even attempt to eliminate others in order to glorify oneself, such an ideal is a delusion and cannot be realized. Therefore, wherever there is space and opportunity for cooperation, we should join hands and work together, which is extremely necessary. I think there's also another point. As mentioned earlier, many religions should sincerely strive to be good friends with one another and gradually build harmonious relationships between people. We should understand and respect each other and engage in dialogue with each other. There was a great master in our Tibetan Buddhism who met a Christian practitioner in the Himalayas. He retreated there for 5 years. Later, this great master asked him what he was practicing. He replied, "I have been cultivating love for 5 years." Actually, the love he spoke of in Buddhism we call bodhicitta, intending to benefit all sentient beings. In some places, our words might be different, but the spirit of truly dedicating oneself to humanity is the same. In summary, briefly, many people here today are wearing different clothes, which also reflects their individual aspirations. Just like the many colorful flowers blooming around the world, only in this way can our home on earth appear truly beautiful. I've heard that at your University of Auckland, there is also a spirit of inclusiveness. There are students here from more than 80 countries and regions. This is also an extremely open-minded concept in its approach. In terms of religious study and research, we actually also need a very inclusive and truly very open mindset. Only in this way can we ourselves live happily and peacefully on this earth. Moreover, there are many religious followers around us, and each of them has many resources, including human, material, and spiritual. If we integrate all these resources together, we can do truly meaningful and important things for all of humanity. Finally, during my time here at this place, I would like to especially thank Professor Plato, Professor Lin, as well as Professor Maning Ip Professor Wainwright, and Professor Molly. Special thanks to Master Chengling. I'm grateful. Thanks all.